Thank you, everyone, for joining me this evening for a live workshop on building your own AI employee. I'm really excited to show you how you can level up from the AI that chats to the AI that does. So, the agenda is for tonight. We're going to start with the opportunity for AI in small businesses, why I am so excited about AI in small businesses, and why now is the right time to start. And to start, we need to know how to start. And I'm here to demo 3 workflows to show you how to set up your AI employee and also share best practices, how to maximize your investment in AI tools. Then I'm going to share my method and really the best practice in using AI. And then I'm going to talk about the 30-day accelerator that I've put in place to help you level up your game from chat to getting AI to do things for you. So I'm just here to first and foremost tell you that you're not behind with AI. We all feel overwhelmed by the constant barrage of news in AI. There's constantly something new coming up, new tools, new models. And so we feel like we're falling behind because we are not here. This is not our full-time job to keep up with AI news. And even if it was, even the AI experts cannot keep up with everything that is happening in this space because it's like the early days of the internet. We didn't know what we don't know. So we have to be open to learn and evolve with the tools and the AI models that are coming out. And so in order for you to not feel behind, you're just missing one thing, and that is someone to tell you where to start and what to do. Once you know how to start and you start building with AI and using it, the possibilities become so clear. And at that point, you will actually potentially become even addicted to using it for your business. So I'm Alice. Thank you for taking the time to join me tonight. I am the founder of Small Business AI Coach. My practice is to help entrepreneurs and small teams adopt AI in ways that are practical, ethical, and deliver ROI. I'm from a finance background. So for me, everything that I do from a business perspective is ROI driven. Nothing brings me more joy than positive ROI projects. So for me, AI has to be a positive ROI project. Otherwise, why am I spending time on this? And wouldn't be here telling you to do that either. I have 15 years of cross-functional experience at the intersection of business value and technology. I've trained users on multiple platforms, in different companies, different sizes. I used to deliver results every single day to the VP of sales of Canada for the biggest brewer in Canada and the world. So I'm very much a data-driven business analyst, the way I approach any business function. And now I know that AI is finally at the point where it can supercharge my productivity and do away with those boring admin tasks and deliver insights in minutes, which is exactly what I want as a small business owner. And I want to bring that same ROI-driven practical approach to AI for small businesses because I use it every single day. And so I know where the frustrations and the mistakes are. And I can see where the value can be, but we need to set it up and know how to use it right. And if you want to follow me, here are my socials. My favorite is my YouTube channel. They're all at Small Business AI Coach, but my YouTube is where I go really in-depth tutorials and really go into use cases compared to the others. Why am I excited for AI now? I wasn't excited about AI for small businesses a year ago. We can all prompt and chat with ChatGPT. That didn't make me excited because at that time, I still needed 5 tools to get to my North Star. And that is the one thing you need to do from day one is define your North Star for your business. What is it that you are trying to achieve as a business? I want to run mine profitably, very agile, learn quickly, and evolve. That is my goal. And for that, I want 1 or 2 tools. I'm not trying to have a whole stack of tools that I'm paying for and that I'm not using productively. So, about 6 months ago is when Claude came up with their whole suite of products, now including automation for small business owners and white collar workers. So, anyone who has a day to day job with admin in it that is consistent, like sales leads and invoicing and content creation, really part of every single department that someone with a small business basically has to run for themselves. They gave us tools to do that so much more efficiently and quickly. So that tool that I picked for what my business needs was Claude, and it does 80 to 90% of what I needed to do daily to achieve my North Star. It's really important that also you start paying for usage. Once I started being like, hey, I need to pay for this if I want to use it productively and safely, I need to pay for this. So once I made that leap and went into that consistency, now it's become part of my day to day. Because before I would just like jump around different tools. You can still use multiple tools, you can use them to cross check, but you should have one main tool or two main tools that are using day to day. So you're not focusing on the tech side, but you're focusing on delivering productivity results. And this is what I do with it daily. You can see there's a productivity to be gained like, from sales to marketing, admin, analysis, revenue growth, financial analysis. And if you want to create your own apps, you can. So you see all of these things you can do. In sales and loan, the connection you can do with your CRM, the call prep, the research, the depth of research at the speed of time that it takes to normally do it manually, the data analysis, like enriching data, inbox follow ups. I think for everyone, no matter what business you have clients, inbox follow up seems just so simple. And yet I lose visibility on my leads. So having AI go and analyze my sent in outbox and tell me who I should be following up with is exactly what I need. It can do lead magnets, it can go through your inbox, invoice processing, document creation in any format, PDFs, PowerPoints, analysis, huge one. Like analysis usually takes hours and it's time we don't have time for often to do regularly, but it will bring so much value to revenue and it's money potentially we're leaving on the table by course correcting from the analysis. So those insights, which will come in 5 to 15 minutes compared to before it would take hours. And it can be a financial coach. It does my monthly financial analysis. It gives me insights. And then if you want to get to the point of app creation, you can create websites and funnels and dashboards. And this agency, ex-agency owner, is now using Claude as his chief of staff because he doesn't need to have an agency of 12 people anymore. He can just be him and Claude. He's an expert. He tells Claude what to do, and he runs his agency that way. So it's really cool to see people with so much experience learning how to make it their employees so quickly already. And what is the opportunity then? AI has become really powerful the last 6 months and no longer just a chat, because that's the first level of using AI. It's the chat, ask questions, generate content, emails, documents, summaries, report creation, and presentations and brainstorm ideas. We can all do that with minimal learning. And that goes for all levels. We need to be clear with AI, but that's the first level. But the level where you start connecting all your apps and tools and email and calendar and CRM accounting, and you start being able to automate repetitive tasks, analyze documents, create SOPs, work across multiple applications from one command center, that's when you start using AI as your chief of staff or your command center or your marketing department or your operations. You decide how you set it up and for what purposes, where your pain points are. So we have a value gap today that most people, not just small businesses, are using maybe 10% of AI capability versus where it is today because it's leaps and bounds ahead and it's going to keep growing leaps and bounds. We're just at the beginning. So the sooner you understand how things work, the sooner you can take advantage and stop leaving money and time on the table by not knowing how to use it fully. Ultimately, what we want to do for a small business owner is go from the chat level to the operate with AI level. That's where the real gains happen in terms of productivity, time saved, or more revenue delivered. And then if you go to level 3, which would be the next level, is actually creating your own AI powered products, websites, applications. It becomes part of your business model and graduates from your operator to now your strategist and builder. So to get to level 2, what is key is to have SOPs, even if they're in your head, processes that are repetitive, consistent, and manual. Those are the first processes that we would want to tackle with AI. And then we'll be able to connect those apps like your email, calendar, drives, folders, etc., we're going to start operating on your machine and taking advantage of folders and documents and information that is already on your computer and also in your connected applications. So that's where you'll see the real gains and the real returns in ROI. So tonight's promise is by the end of this hour and a half together, you will see exactly how operating at level 2 works. What do you need to get started? And you can leave with something you can even do tomorrow. I will share this deck. I will share the replay. I will share the assets. And you don't need to be technical. And we only do it with one platform today, which is Claude. So let's take a look at how it works and get started. We're going to need 3 things. As I mentioned, you should always be paying for whatever AI you're using, Claude or ChatGPT. So for any of those accounts, you should be paying because you want to ensure your data safety and security. Security is really important. At the end of the day, all these companies are using your data. That's part of why they're doing this. They're going to use your data. You can opt out if you want, but the most important thing is that you're paying. So one, you have usage. You don't run out of credits right away. And at that point, you won't be able to use it anyway. And 2, security of your data, making sure that it's covered. You will download the Claude desktop app. There's also a desktop app for ChatGPT called Codex. You will pick a real project, and by real project, it's like a pain point, something you do consistently, and you want to get it off your plate every week or every day. It could be like triaging your inbox, getting a daily briefing, getting a weekly content report, getting a monthly financial review. Those are projects that we can do in literally an hour and a half in an afternoon. And once you get into the Claude desktop app, you'll see that we have 3 options. We have the chat, which is the chat just like ChatGPT has, and Claude has no different. And if today you're a ChatGPT user and you need to migrate to Claude, there is a way, very simple, that you can look up. And if we end up working together, that I can help you with, where you can migrate all your ChatGPT history to Claude. And you could probably do the opposite. You can migrate from Claude to ChatGPT. There is a way to do that. So if you're not a Claude user now, but you do want by the end of this presentation or in general to migrate, know that there is an easy way to do that. And you're not going to lose your history and your memory of ChatGPT. Cowork is where we're going to spend some time today. And that's because Cowork is that operational assistant that has a friendly interface for white collar work or any kind of admin work that is consistent, repetitive, that involves connecting to different applications, starting to use what we call plugins and skills, which help you just do better work. And your own employee, because you want to customize the outcomes, right? We don't want any slop. So that's what, if you're using AI, we don't want people to know easily that you're using AI, and we don't want it to be obvious. You can use it, but you can still make it your own. So we want to make sure as much as possible that over time we customize it to our processes to make it work for us and give us that ROI. And then the last one is Claude Code. This is like a developer tool that is accessible to people who are not technical. So once you want to start building apps, and you want to start this even from day one, you can completely do that because you don't need to code. You just need to tell Claude Code what to do for you, what to build. As long as you provide enough context for all of them to do their job effectively and not burn through your usage, your investment, that's completely okay. If you don't want to, you can start from day one with it, play around with it, but know that it's going to, of course, you're building, so you're going to use a lot of your investment and a lot of your tokens. Tokens are like your budget of Claude left, basically. And the same goes for ChatGPT or any other AI tool. They all have tokens. That's their budget of how we spend our allocation of that AI. So what I will show you tonight is how to make AI your own. So let's get rid of that AI slop potential. It's something you're going to evolve with as you use the AI. You're going to make it more and more customized, but this is the starting point. We want to connect your Claude to your Gmail, your calendar, your Drive. We want to make sure that you don't leave any money on the table and need to chase down clients and prospects. So we want to make sure AI does that for you and lets you know. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to create documents and dashboards and get insights in minutes that you wouldn't have been able to before. And so this is just scratching the surface. Before we get into the demo, I'm just going to go over 2 best practices. If you think about starting with AI, you are investing, you are going to pay for AI, you're making an investment. And what you're getting as part of that investment is a certain amount of tokens, which is AI's working memory. Every file AI reads, every command it runs, every message you send, it all takes up space in what it calls a context window, which you can think of as a desk. If you're sitting on a desk the way we used to and and have some space on this desk for new work throughout the day. So people pass by, they leave you some work on your desk, and eventually your desk fills up. And that's where anxiety kicks in, things start going wayside because now you have no more space left to do work. You have no more mental space for work. And that's exactly what AI is doing. It has so much space to do work, which context is essentially what you're spending money on. So the more you use it, the more of your investment you use away. And we want to avoid that by minimizing the amount of information that we need to give it to achieve a certain purpose. So sometimes we think that, pasting some really long conversation in giant files is going to help. It does to a certain degree, but then eventually it starts costing you in your usage. And that's what we want to make sure that that desk that the AI is working on during the day, it doesn't get overfilled because that's when it starts giving you low quality responses. And eventually it's going to max out and ask you to just actually start over. And that's one of the ways we can manage it. We can, start over, new conversations, new windows, new chats. So the desk clears up and you can start receiving more work. Being specific is really important. So giving, again, enough information to achieve a purpose. And whenever you do give information, you can always add at the end of your prompt, ask me clarifying questions until you are 95% clear on what I'm trying to do. That will ensure that even though you might not have given the AI a lot of information, if there is information that's important that it's missing, it's going to ask you for it. That way you're not over bloating the conversation, but you have enough information that it knows what it needs to do with that, and that gives you good results. So it's a good way to balance how much information you need to give it to get its job done. And depending on the model you use, you will end up using more or less because they're kind of like employees at different levels of competency. A junior employee would get paid less, a senior employee more. It's the same with the models, and we'll talk about that when we actually work together. And one thing that's important is if you have SOPs, get them out of your head. If you have them on a drive, get them out and give it to AI and see if it makes sense to operationalize. This is the starting point is always SOPs, consistent processes you do every week, every day, every month, every 3 months, every year. All of that AI should be able to run for you. And you always start with projects from day one because otherwise it's so quick and easy to get disorganized and all over the place. So from day one, it's really important that you start in a project or a folder, which project and folder is one and the same on your computer. You're going to have files on your computer now. It's going to manipulate those and you're going to be able to get a lot more done. And if you're on a team, you can actually share through projects. You can share your projects with teammates so everyone is on the same page. So the first example we're going to take a look at today is the all AI sounds the same cure. The first thing we want to do in ChatGPT or Claude is go to settings and train the AI to about our business, what we're trying to do with it. There are 2 ways of doing that. In fact, I've shared 3. But one is just say this out loud to the AI. And you can use voice to text. There's voice to text. You can talk to the AI. There are apps that do that. And you can just say it out loud and then it will summarize it for you. Or you can just copy this prompt here when I send it out. And it's going to ask you when you put this prompt, which is what I will do right now, just copy this. And you can change it to whatever is for you. So like I mentioned, we want to be in the desktop app. So once you download Claude desktop app, you're going to open it and this is what it's going to look like. It's going to have chat here, co-work, and code. For this, all we need to do is go to settings. But before that, we're going to ask in a new chat AI to ask us enough questions to understand about our business. So this is what I was talking about. If you add an app called Whisperflow, if you download Whisperflow, you can get it to actually do voice to text. So you can talk to it and be even faster this way. So I'm running this right now. and it's going to start asking me questions to create this 200-word business profile I can paste into my Claude settings so it always knows the context. Because ultimately, we want to give it enough context to know what to do as good as possible, just not too much either, because again, you're taking up memory. But it's going to read this particular context every single time because it's in settings in the account level. So for every single project that I work on, it's going to take it into account. So it's starting to ask me questions. Let's do this one question at a time. I'll keep it tight. First question, tell me what your business actually does and for who. Give me the version you'd say loud to someone at a dinner party, not the website copy. So it wants to know your particular tone of voice, the way you express yourself. And you're going to start answering and go from there. It's going to come up with what I have in my settings. So if you have this down here, your settings are in the top, in the bottom left corner where it says Alice in my case. And then go to settings. It's the same in ChatGPT, by the way. If you go to ChatGPT in the browser for Claude and ChatGPT 2, it's in the bottom left corner. And here in general, you're going to go to instructions for Claude and you're going to put the summary, you're going to paste the summary that Claude gave you after all those questions. So who am I? What do I do? Where am I based? My priority client right now, my program, my goals, how to respond. This is really important. This is where you make it less AI centric, right? Like a human, not a content mill, no M dashes, no, it's not just X, it's Y, no, in today's fast paced world. And then I also gave it my brand palette. That way it knows what colors to make documents for me. I also gave it my voice, candid, honest, direct, warm, personable, empathetic. It knows that I don't want to be a techie. I'm a business owner who wants to adopt tech to get shit done for my business. I'm happy with this. I'm just going to close this now. And so now it's already set up with my voice, my business, and my brand. That's all it took. If you are running a solo business with offers, I added these like bonus questions from Alex Hormozy that he set up for AI. So again, these are questions that AI is going to ask you. You're just going to copy paste this into the prompt, a new chat, and it's going to start asking you what is your offer, your target customer, dream outcome, pain point. This is really great because especially if you're writing marketing content after, knowing all of this is really helpful. Your main competitors, your white space, it's really like very strategic way of talking about your business. So you can copy paste this prompt as well. Now, the second example I'll show you again in Claude Cowork now is going to be scheduling a task, like a daily briefing. And again, you can copy this prompt and make it your own. So I'm just going to come here and copy it. And I'm excited to show you this because this is like where the power of it comes in. And we're going to make sure we're connected here. So we're going to look at that. Now, going back to the desktop app for Claude, up here is Cowork. Before we actually do the task, let's take a look at the side here. So we have projects. This is when we want to start a new project. So today we could start here as a new project, but I will show you how to do it as a scheduled task. We can schedule a task. So these are tasks that repeat. When your computer is awake and the app is open, they can run. I have a daily briefing, which I'll show you how to set up again today, even though I already have it. Computer cleanup every Sunday at 9 a.m., a monthly invoice for a client, a monthly analysis of my expenses every 5th of the month. I have Monday content ideas, weekly Canva content creation, and a quarterly business audit that I'm going to do right now. So this is for now. I can have many more tasks that I don't even have here that I'm running in Claude Code. So we come to schedule. But before we do that, what we need to do is we need to customize. And by customize, it means we need to connect our apps. So these are connectors that I have right now, and there are many more. So I have Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive. These three, whatever your email is, your calendar, and your Drive, you should be the first thing you should be integrating, connecting. Otherwise, you can search connectors here. Let's do accounting, for example. And we can browse and we can see here account. These are the partners that are official partners of Claude connectors, but there are other connectors that you can create too. So we have PayPal, we have Intuit, QuickBooks. Then you have something called skills, which are just custom instructions. So it's like hiring an employee that knows how to do the job exactly, specifically for you. and that you can also customize, because the real value of skills is like when you customize them to your exact process and desires. So you have a web artifacts builder skill, internal comms, brand guidelines. These skills are maybe not as relevant to you, which is why you should just create your own. The only skill that you can install from here is definitely a skill creator, which allows you the ability to create skills. Then we also have plugins, which are like giving us the power of a department. So we have actually small business plugins that they just released maybe a month ago. We can have operations, we have sales leads here. If I click on the small business plugin, it's a combination of connectors that small businesses would use. So we can see all the connectors that are included: QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, DocuSign, Slack, Stripe, Square, Gmail, Google, and MS365. And we can see the skills: Business Pulse, Call List, Canva Creator, Cash Flow Snapshot, Close Month, Content Strategy, Contract Review, which is super important, very useful. I use AI for contracts all the time. Month-end Prep, Plan Payroll, Price Check, Quarterly Review. So already you have all these ideas of things you can be setting up automations for with these skills and connectors. So let's say I wanted to add a connector. I would just go to connectors. Let's say it's Gmail. I already have it, but it doesn't matter. You would search it, and here you would have connect. You would click on connect. It tells you everything that it can do in your Gmail already, and for every connector you can see the same. And you have to just authenticate, and you're set. So now I want my daily briefing to be connected to my Gmails and my calendar. So I've set up both. I'm set to go. I can now just go back up here. We go back. And now we're going to schedule this daily briefing. So let me maybe delete this one because I already have it. And let's start over. So new task. You can set up manually or create it with Claude. Claude will ask you enough questions to get you to tell it what you want done. But if you already know what it is, you can just come to set up manually, and it will be daily briefing again. 8 a.m. briefing. And you're describing it here. So I'll put the prompt here because it's the same frequency. I want this daily. And I want this, I had set it 8 a.m. And at 8 a.m., my computer has to be on and the desktop app open for it to actually produce results. I'm usually reading my briefing in here in the app, but you can also ask it to send you an actual email with the daily briefing. At that point, you still have to have the app open so it runs through the app, and then you can close it. Okay, so now I have daily briefing right here. I'm going to click on it. It says, this task runs during peak hours, Mondays 5 to 11, 8 to 2. Okay, so 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. local, my time. So it's saying basically like you should probably do this before 8 a.m. if you want to, minimize tokens. So it's actually giving you advice. Right now, this is not a big task, so I'm not worried about it. But if it's like a data analysis or something that is big, consider setting it up after these peak hours. So I'm going to run it now to see what it does. And you can see it's right here right now. It's doing it. And you can also view it here. So it's going to take just maybe 30 seconds to a minute. It's looking up the tools that it needs, like my connectors. And you can see on the side here, the progress, the connectors, Gmail and Google Calendar. And so every day when you come here, when it's run, you're just going to click on it and then you're going to get the results. So it's looking through my calendar now. It's going to check my sent folder next for unanswered emails. This one is where the value is, and also like prepping you for your daily meetings. That's where I find the most useful. And it's going to do it without you waiting. Like right now I'm waiting because I'm presenting, but you can walk away and come back and after you get your coffee or whatever you do in the morning when this runs, and come back to it after a few minutes and it will be done for you. And there it is. Wow. Okay. There it is. It maybe took like a minute. I have emails I need to respond to. Calendar today. The sent ones waiting on replies. It's been many days. I need to follow up from them. And who are my top 3 I need to follow up with? Okay. And now I can ask it to actually write those follow-ups to me. Like I can be like, write a follow-up email for all of today's top 3. So now it's going to do that and give me the 3 emails. Now, what's the next task we want to do? The next task I want to show you how to do. This one is like so useful. Once you get the hang of it, like you can create so many documents so quickly. So we have something called an artifact in Claude. And that's basically a nicely presented professional version of any data or content in a polished, clean way. So it's ready for clients, partners, or anyone externally. And you can make really beautiful dashboards really quickly. Just drop screenshots of files and you have them analyzed in minutes and then presented. You can create documents like Word, PDF, PowerPoint, Excel, link to Google Drive, URLs, web pages, landing pages, interactive demos, forms, and quick prototypes. It's really like so versatile. It's a great answer to any kind of document creation and presentation questions. But I find for a one place for everything, this is one of the best value you're getting out of it. So one thing I want to show you here is my business audit that I did in Claude Cowork. Again, back to the desktop. So you're going to go back to Cowork and you're going to come to artifacts. This is where they are. When you want to create artifacts in the desktop app, you can also do it from the chat. Artifacts are available in the chat as well, right here. And you can see all the past ones I've created. Now let's go back to that particular one that I created in Cowork. So let's take a look at one I created in Claude Cowork called the business audit. It's this presentation here that I created, but the starting point was just a prompt about me wanting an audit of my business for SEO, for offers, for my price, and my marketing strategy. And I gave it my website and my social media, and it gave me this PowerPoint deck. I asked it, first it gave me the analysis, and then I asked it to put it in a PowerPoint deck. And here now I can open it, and I can see it graded me in each aspect. It gave me the current state of each pillar I wanted audited, what I should do. Same thing with my offer, my gaps and opportunities, competitive analysis, which I haven't even had time to do, what I should do, where I have like gaps in my social media, marketing, and then a 90-day growth playbook, which I'm already kind of halfway through. And where should I start? So this was done in literally like 10 minutes. And it's beautiful. I can present it if I wanted to, or I can just work off of it. Another one that I had done from the chat and artifacts was a campaign performance dashboard. I run a campaign over the last few weeks. It's a meta campaign, and I wanted to kind of bring together the results of the campaign and the results of my Google Analytics. So let's take a look. It created a dashboard literally with 2 screenshots, one of my meta ads and one of my Google Analytics account. And I asked it to give me an analysis. I was like, I don't want you to just give me numbers. I want to know where I'm doing well and where I'm not doing well, and insights around what I'm doing well and not. So this is great. I've actually gotten better than expected results for my first campaign. It broke down everything, and it can actually, like, once I run more campaigns, I can bring them side by side here and show subscribers over time, which is exactly what I want. And this is actually published. So I have this link and I can actually send it and share it with someone. So if I go and open a new tab with this link, I can actually see this dashboard. So if I go and I open this link in the browser in a tab, this is the live dashboard. So I can easily share this with teammates or share this with clients or partners. It's a really easy way of really quickly sharing results and insights and presenting as well. So if I go back to Claude, all I need to do here to start a artifact is go to artifacts, go new artifact. This is in the chat. Same thing with Cowork. You would start live artifacts. You can actually have these already, what needs my attention, but we're going to just do a new artifact and create it with Claude. And we'll basically tell it what we want. That's what we're going to start with, is what kind of document are you creating? What kind of document makes sense? So it already gave you my connectors. It's evaluating what kind of connectors I have and what kind of live artifacts it can create for me. So we're done with the demo piece. I also included an invoicing setup. You can do that if you want to set up your invoicing. You can create a scheduled task for that. So I highly recommend that you do with anything. If you want to start kind of playing around in Claude, set it up to be your employee step by step. And one thing you need to adopt as a best practice mindset is the AI loop, which is my method, and really the best practice in working with AI in general, which is the method of audit, implement, run, and refine. So you always start with asking yourself, where does AI make sense? For a small business, AI, not there's a million tools you can buy, there are a million tools being sold to you, but why? What is the North Star? What am I trying to achieve? Am I trying to go look for more revenue? Am I trying to free up time? How can I do that? Where do I have repeatable processes that I do every week, every day, every month, consistently? I'm not going to change them. I worked last summer with a coach running her operations, and she really wanted to be AI forward. She wanted to implement AI, but she changed her operations almost every week. So there's no way we can operationalize with AI something that changes all the time. You can, but knowing what you know about usage and context management and tokens, you're going to constantly have to keep investing in AI to change things and build things over and over again. So if you want to actually have just smooth sailing with AI and use it where it makes sense, then just use the processes that you can actually operationalize week to week the same, because you can put AI or new tools, but if you're going to end up using more time correcting them, changing things, and they just add complexity to your business, then they're not solving a problem and there's no ROI there. Once you know what you make sense, where you should implement AI, then with AI you can implement it. AI can actually be your partner. If you don't know how to do something, you can just ask it and it will do it for you. You just have to follow its instructions. And then from there you run, you see the results, you see if you like it, what you don't like, what we can improve, and you refine. And that's essentially the AI loop, where you start with describe, inspect, repeat, and tighten. So this is the audit, like clarify what you're trying to do, what makes sense for you. Then go to implement and review the output, send it back, and refine. And that's it. Brief, review, redirect, iterate. This is just anytime you work with in development or in creating or building anything new, a process or tools, it doesn't matter. You have to go through this loop. You want to learn quickly. You want to spend as little time as possible learning. So you want to implement something simple quickly and see what it can and cannot do. So you're not wasting your time. If it can't even do simple things, then it's not going to be able to do more complicated ones. And so the goal here is to go from level 1 to level 2 in 30 days with no technical skills as a small business owner. You can level up from level 1 to level 2 in 30 days in an environment where you are supported. So you know where to start, you know what to do. And so for that, I have created the 30-day accelerator, where solopreneurs, service-based owners spend 4 weeks. In the first week, you spend one-on-one time with me where we audit your business, your workflows, your bottlenecks, and prioritize opportunities. In week 2, 3, and 4, we're in a small group of up to 6 people where we work together on our own workflows and building up those automations, with having access to each other, knowing, learning from each other. With everything that is going on in AI, being in a group environment actually will have you learn way more than if you're doing this on your own, one-on-one. It's by being part of communities that I've learned all the potential that I didn't even know existed. And so the more people we are, the more hats we can wear in terms of what AI can do for us. So in the second week, we're going to make as a group AI be our own employee and start training it on what that means, giving it business context, creating a prompt framework for your business and your AI playbook. And what are the workflows that you can now start already automating? So in week 2, we're already going to start automating. In week 3, we're going to continue automating, connect everything, make sure your whole ecosystem of everything you do in your business day to day from an admin perspective starts being built out. And then by week 4, we'll finish building out our system and workflows together. And then from there, you'll have a 90-day implementation roadmap that you can take action on. Throughout the whole process, we're going to be part of a community. You're going to have access to asking me questions in the community portal. So you're never blocked week to week, I want you to be able to go back in between sessions, keep working on your projects and setting things up and learning. So you're going to have access to me. You're going to have access to me also 2 weeks after the 4 weeks are done. So it's actually a 6-week engagement with 2 weeks of support at the end. You're still part of the community portal. And so by that time, you should understand how to set up your own automations and use the operational layer of AI to start running your business and become your employee as a temporary employee, as a part-time employee, or as a full-time employee. And then we're going to actually measure the time that you are saving, which I'm excited for, because think about it this way. If you are saving even 5 hours a week at $75 an hour, this program, this AI accelerator, will pay for itself in about 10 days and give you a return of around 18,000 over the next year. And this is like a conservative estimate. Some tech guru is going to tell you you're going to save 10 hours a week at $150 an hour. I'm not trying to overplay what AI can do, especially in the beginning. AI is still evolving, but I know for a fact that you could be saving $18,000 over the next year easily in time spent. And imagine all the revenue you could be bringing in by using that time to build out and scale your business. So at the end of the 30 days, you will leave with automations running and a 90-day plan. That is the goal, that you already have an AI employee working for you, that you know exactly how to continue with the 90-day plan, that all your business workflows are connected, that you get at least 5 hours returned every week, and that your systems, your team, and that we build systems you can actually use. If we start building things you're not going to use that are going to die out after a month, that is not our goal. We want to make sure that we are doing the change management and the mindset, because ultimately that's what matters when you're using new tools, is you have to be wanting to adopt them and not get frustrated and give up if there is value there. Of course, if there's no value there, it's not saving us time, there's no ROI, then we should end it sooner than later. But if there's a potential there, we should keep at the plan so we can see that potential. And because I know it's so important, there are different teams, small businesses are so many different flavors. We have a solo path and a team path for teams of more than 3. And I know that a lot of times we start with good intentions, but we don't necessarily finish a program. So if you do finish the program, you get some money back and one-on-one time with me. And so what is the program? Let's take a look here on smallbusinessaicoach.com accelerator. So when you come here, you'll see doors close in a week. We start Wednesday, June 10th. So here how the different programs work. The one that's for solo owners is the 549 Canadian dollars, no taxes, nothing, just as is at checkout. And then the team track is a little bit of a discount of teams of more than 3 people, then it's $4.99 a seat. And if at this time you're not sure yet, you don't know where to start, then you can work with me for a private 3-hour one-on-one where it's 249 Canadian dollars and you get one-on-one time with me. And then we figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for your business. So you're not investing any more time if it doesn't make sense. And so what you walk away with is that you get at least 6 wins. You're going to be organized from day one. You're going to avoid common mistakes because I've already made mistakes for you, so you'll learn from me. You're going to get at least a workflow per session, one-on-one time with me to make sure this is customized to your needs. We're going to learn how to approve and not gamble. And we're going to learn how to create repeatable workflows so we can keep doing that even after the program. And that is why it makes sense to start as a group with direction so we know where to start and we can get those gains as soon as possible. And so we start with 6 seats on June 10th. So we close on June 9th and we start on June 10th, one-on-one time with me. So if you need a few more days, we can still figure that out. But by the end of next week, we need to be locked and loaded. And then we get going. We have 30 days to deliver these results. And I look forward to hearing how you can apply this to your businesses. And I've also added some free resources here. We have Anthropic Academy, free Claude learning from the actual company that built Claude. YouTube, I love my YouTube channel. There's a lot of short videos there on how you can use AI as a small business. And all of my handles are at Small Business AI Coach. Same for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Uh, if you're a woman, you can join this Women AI community. That's free and really helpful if you want to build an application. And I'll be sending these different bonuses that are included, including the prompts, offer builder worksheet, usage best practices, AR audit worksheet, and the 30-day AI roadmap that you can create for yourself as well with this presentation and replay. So thank you so much for taking the time to go through the presentation with me. Thank you for your questions, and I hope that you'll be part of the 30-day accelerator. I think it's going to be a great value for everyone who wants to get started with their AI employee within their business. Have a good evening.